Welcome everyone to the Yogi and the Blonde. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome, aka Nadia, and welcome, aka Michelle. The Yogi and the Blonde. Da 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 da. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, we're still working on our intro.
At least I'm not humming into the thing.
Oh.
Well, we are doing another podcast today. Michelle is off tomorrow for a few weeks. So, in a few weeks' time, at the end of April, we'll have another podcast coming out. Where are you going, Michelle?
I'm going to Argentina just for 2 weeks, unfortunately. 2 weeks to Argentina, leaving tomorrow.
Exciting.
Excited.
And who are you going to get to see in Argentina?
My son, who's been there it's already been 12 weeks. When we booked the flights, we were like, it's going to be 12 weeks. And the time has just flown. But I guess this is life, isn't it? Time flies. And I feel like an old person saying that, when you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's almost May. It's like, oh, you listen to yourself and you're like, oh my God, I've become that person. But you can't help it sometimes.
I love the good efforts of the old folk talking.
Not far off.
Hey, however you did that was funny. Thank you for the entertainment.
I've had that conversation a lot this week because for my in-person clients, I'm not going to see them for 2 weeks. So for some of them, I will be seeing them in May.
Yes.
So it's like, wow, that sounds so far away. I can't believe it's nearly May. Oh my God. You know how it goes.
Yeah. But that's exciting. At least you guys are, that's the thing. It's interesting. Like during the sauna infusions that I do here at Maria Hot Springs, a sauna infusion, for those who don't know, it's a hot cold therapy, and I talk about how technology is what's making us sick, can make us sick, especially when we overindulge because it constantly can stimulate us. But at the same time, it's great because you can communicate with people. You can now, it's easy to take flights, to do all of that. And that's all part of the technology, right?
It's made the world smaller.
And more accessible, to be honest.
Oh my God, I just thought, we didn't plan this, but I just thought of an amazing segue into the topic of the podcast. Technology helps us to create connections.
Yeah. I'm sure that, how we kind of go off at the beginning, it always leads in quite nicely. I don't know, that's just my biased opinion. But that's what we're going to be talking about, is forming connections, matching energy, and just how rather than pushing each other down and actually criticizing each other, it's about uplifting each other. Even if you're in the same profession and doing the same thing, rather than putting someone down, you should be uplifting and we should be supporting each other, and rather than being jealous and just having all of that. And so what this topic is all about is jealousy, and how jealousy can actually make you sick. And when we think about vibrations, we're all made of vibration. And when we think about jealousy is quite of a down, negative vibration. So we actually want to uplift. If you uplift someone, then you're going to be uplifting yourself because you're lifting up your vibrating energy frequency.
Yeah, I actually cannot think of any positive things that can come out of jealousy. Because I guess if you find yourself jealous of somebody and what they have, if that makes you say, right, I want that, I wouldn't view that as jealousy. I would view that as inspiration. That person has something that I want and I'm going to work hard to get it. So I would view that as inspiration, not jealousy. I can't think of
a way of, you can have that attachment of that jealousy. I get where you're coming from, and I totally agree with you. But jealousy can be also like, oh, why do they have that? I should be the one that has it. You know what I mean? That's how I look at jealousy.
Exactly. This is what I mean. I can't think of any positive things that come out of being jealous. I can't think of anything worthwhile out of jealousy, if you know what I mean. It just feels totally negative. And it's no wonder that being in a jealous state can make you unwell
Yeah.
mentally and
Yeah,
physically,
because
probably.
actually, there, if you look at a lot of the studies, when they say you've got that physical stress, but the physical stress comes from our state of mind and how we think and how we process things and how we create that negative attachment. And what's quite interesting in saying that is, I seen someone yesterday that I was with for a good 8 weeks during the beginning of my arrival here, and I was struggling quite hard and I was not in a good space mentally. And so when I seen her, she's like, she get new glasses. She's like, you look different. She's like, you look brighter and lighter and just, uplifting. And I'm just like, well, it's probably because I'm in a better state mentally, to be honest.
Mm.
And I even said to, I've said to a few people, is like, give me 3 to 6 months to settle in. Give me 3 to 6 months to process. And it's now over 4 months, and I feel in a much better place. And I've got the Joe and the flow and everything. And now I'm just creating balance between here and doing my online stuff. So yeah. Anyways, that was a bit of a tangent, but it shows
We
how
love a
that can.
tangent.
We're good with that, aren't we,
We love a
Michelle?
tangent.
Yeah. So now forming connections with matching energy. I'm gonna again use myself as an example because Michelle even pointed this out to me when we spoke last week. Remember when you said to me, you're meeting a lot of interesting people? And the thing is, though, by working in this wellness hot springs retreat, you meet like-minded people, because what I see is I'll see a lot of people within the health and wellness industry, other yoga teachers, health coaches, personal trainers, gym owners, just various things. And it's quite amazing of the connections in the community I'm creating here and the vibes, and I think it has been such a good thing. And the conversations I've had with people is always about, let's support each other, let's connect, and how can I help, how can we help each other? And I want to be able to connect with you down the road. I might need something, right? So yeah, it's been quite interesting in that way to see that connection with people with like-minded, and it's just like, wow, I just don't know how to explain it. I'm not really good at explaining that today.
I feel
Yeah.
like and I think anybody listening to this can relate. I think that you're right. It's hard to put it into words because it's a feeling. When you
Mm,
meet somebody that does have that matching energy with you, somebody where when you've left that meeting, you feel better or
mm,
inspired or
mm.
well,
Uplifted.
uplifted. And then there are some people will actually just make you feel shit.
Mm,
And I guess we'll probably come on to that shortly. And some
mm-hmm.
people, it would just be kind of average. It won't really change how you feel at all.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's bad if someone makes you feel like shit, but it's not a bad thing if someone just kind of leaves you average. And I think this is kind of what you mean about those energies. Ideally, you want to surround yourself with those people where you see them and you end up feeling good and great. And, if you can surround yourself with those people,
Mm-hmm.
you know that they've got your back and you can achieve anything you want to because people are going to be helping you and uplifting you with that. But if
Yeah.
you surround yourself with people where you're constantly being brought down, then you're just going to lose yourself in
Yeah,
a
and your
bit of that.
momentum, and
Mm,
your self-worth, and your lift up, your value, just everything, right?
yeah.
So and sometimes those kind of connections you need to let go as well. Letting go of those connections that aren't serving you anymore. And sometimes people are just in your life for that short period of time for a lesson. Each person's very different for the lesson behind it, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we might hold on to connections out of a feeling of duty that we
Mm.
have to, that there's no real reason to end that connection.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's some people come into your life for a period of time and move on, and that's okay. Like if I
Yeah.
think back over the course of my life, I've had best friends, you do everything with and you hang out together with. And now I don't speak to them at all. You know,
Yeah.
someone that can be a part of your life so completely, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're not in your life at all. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I experienced this, I probably talked about it a little bit in our first round of podcasts where we were kind of talking about our stories. I was knocking around with a group of people after my ex and I broke up. And I was having a lot of fun, drinking a lot,
Yep.
dancing a lot,
Yep.
um, became part of this big group of friends. And for a period of time, it was great. And then everything started to go downhill because there was too much party, too much drinking.
Yeah.
Negative, toxic aspects of the relationship started to come in. And when I started to focus on my journey and my health and my wellness, those connections had to end. And now I'm not in touch with anyone really from
Yeah.
that time of my life. And that was actually only a few years ago. So, you know,
Well,
this,
actually, it's more than a few years because how long have you
yeah,
been with Lau?
yeah. So this is probably about 8 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
See how the time flies?
Here's
Wasn't
the
that long ago?
elderly
It was,
Michelle coming through.
yeah, it was almost a decade ago. Oh, okay.
That's more than a few years. Few years is like 2, 3 years.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I was
Classic.
like,
There's a
been
perfect
a few years.
example of what I was talking about earlier.
That's so funny. But
So
I
yeah,
get what
letting go can help you to improve your life. And it can sound savage and it can sound mean, but actually sometimes it's the best for yourself.
yeah, yeah. It's and you think about it like and even it's not just about letting go of connection with people, but letting go of connection with where a place. So like for myself, going from Auckland to here, that was a bit of a transition as well.
You struggled with
But
that for a bit, didn't you?
yeah, I did, but it's been like the best thing ever for me, the best thing ever. And so, and just coming back into that letting go of jealousy is good for your health, and creating connections to bring each other up and supporting each other. Like, for example, I was listening to this podcast, and this is where this kind of no, it wasn't a podcast, it was a talk. It wasn't a podcast, it was something else. I think it was like a meditation lesson or something like that. Anyways, and she was talking about jealousy, and this is where what inspired what I spoke to Michelle about, and this is what inspired this podcast, this episode. Now, I really liked her story of connecting with that jealousy, where she's a yoga teacher. She's got a good mate. They've done their training together. They've got the exact training, the exact experience, everything like that. And they both went for the same job, and ended up her friend got it. And at first she was really like pissed off and jealous, and I should have been the one that got it, not her, and everything like that. But when she like sat with it and going, what am I doing? Why am I like this? She's like, I should be happy for my friend. It's just not meant to be for me. Something else is going to come up that's going to work for me. And it's amazing to when you can sit back and let ego drop, let all that negativity drop, and just sit with it and go, what the hell am I doing? I should be celebrating for my friend. I should be celebrating with her, lifting her up. And it's fascinating just to see that. And I've even caught myself with that, and catching myself. And I love that. And I love catching myself in those little moments, because this is where the growth happens, right? And this is where the inner evolvement, inner evolve happens within ourselves. And I thought that was a really interesting story about that.
Mm. Yeah, that is really interesting and amazing that she was able to sit with the jealousy and often I feel like, and you know more about this than me, I might just be talking a load of rubbish here, but I often feel like when we experience these negative emotions, often it's something that has triggered something in ourselves.
Mm.
And to actually hold the mirror up to yourself and say, why am I feeling this way? It might come down to something that's a little bit deeper entrenched. And then
Yeah.
you can kind of sit down and work through that. And I guess in this story that you've just told, she's looked at herself and has said, what? Yeah, actually, what am I doing? Like, this is a buddy, this is a friend. I would want her to be
Why am I
happy for
putting her
me.
down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
isn't changing the situation by being jealous. It's not doing anything. It's only going to make me feel bad and ruin our friendship. So
Yeah. Yeah. And and you got to think as well as the vibrations, like, why do you want to bring that negative energy in? Like, what's the point?
what's the
Because then
point?
you're just manifesting more, right? So
Yeah.
it's about getting out of that negative mindset and space, which is actually holding you back from achieving you being your best as well. So when you think about that, it's just like, okay, yeah, like you said it correct. You said it beautifully, Michelle. And it's just, yeah, it just makes you kind of go, huh, why are we mean to each other? Like, you think about it, would you really talk to, if that was your younger self, would you talk to your younger self like that? Would you talk to a child like that? Really? Like, if there was like two kids and they were exact same, and one of them, well, no one's the same, but same education, we'll put it at, and one of them got a chair in an event and the other one didn't. Now, would you encourage the one that didn't, that she should have got it and her friend's crap and all? Would you be teaching that to a kid? Like, this is how I think about it. Would you teach that to your stepson, to be like that with his friends?
No. Do you know what?
No.
Some parents do, though.
But again,
which
though,
is
Michelle,
a whole other story.
that is not the people that you want to be around.
No,
And that's what this
exactly.
is all about, right? This is about like surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and this is about letting go of those connections that aren't working, that are toxic, that are not doing your health any good. Believe it or not, this affects your health, and it's the same thing as watching something that is quite negative as well.
So I think I heard this on a podcast, and it was really interesting, and it's kind of similar to that. A lot of people that go on a health journey, and let's say they lose a load of weight, often they will end up leaving their partner or friendships. And I think the point of this was because they have done something positive to change their life, and then they start seeing everything around them in a different light and start to recognize that perhaps the people that were surrounding them were not encouraging them to live a better, healthier life. And now that they've got there on their own, they start to say, actually, you don't align with my values anymore.
Yeah.
Like, people leave their husbands because they're like, we're in a totally different place now, and you are in a different place with different values to me. So it's not uncommon when people start to go on this journey that they start to let go of connections that are
just not working for them,
legally tied to. So
but that makes sense. I even think about my last long-term relationship. It was the exact same thing. You know, I met a lovely guy, beautiful heart, just, nothing to do with him. It's just, we were just vibrating at different frequencies. And I even had a friend of mine even say that she was noticing that I was dropping my energy level down to his, to match his. And she said it was kind of sad to see because I wasn't being myself, and and we shouldn't have to change for people. We change for ourselves. And when we change for ourselves, that can be scary, because that might mean certain relationships, certain friendships, certain connections might die off, and they might not. But that's okay. That's okay. Like I was saying to a good friend of mine, and I was telling him, I'm like, oh, I'm a bit sad. There's a girl that is working here. She's just a backpack. She's a backpacker. No, that's quite mean.
Just a backpacker.
She is a backpacker. She's from, she's traveling. That's probably a better way to say it. She's traveling. She's from Germany, and she's going to be leaving soon. She's leaving in, I think, about 10 days or so. And I was saying to him, and I was like, oh, I'm really gutted because we've made a nice bond, friendship, and connection and stuff like that. And then it's like, I needed to be reminded. And he's like, yeah, but that's life. People come and people go. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So it's just,
C'est la
it's okay.
vie.
Yeah, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. So the moral of the story of the episode for today is, let's lift each other up. We are, for like even Michelle and myself, we've even had this conversation last week, and it was about this episode and just whatnot. And Michelle and I are in the health and wellness, but we're on different paths at the same time, if that makes sense. But with that, in saying that, we do lift each other up. We do support each other, even if we've got like the same goals of building a side hustle of having online clients. One of us might be doing better at this point than another, but that doesn't mean that one is better than another. It's just that journey for that person. So we should lift each other up. And there's things that might be reverse in that way of connections. Somebody's making a lot of connections and rather going, oh, I'm not making any connections like that. But we just lift each other up. And if by keep doing that, we're going to prosper and create more abundance of that goodness coming through. So rather than putting each other down, girls, women, sisterhoods, we've got to be soaring sisters. So we got to let go of what's not doing us good anymore and lift each other up.
Yeah. There's plenty of space for everybody to succeed. You get absolutely nothing out of putting other people down. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't make them feel better. There's just no point, literally no point. So for your sake and everyone's around you, just support. Give and you will receive as well.
And that's what Michelle and I are trying to do as well, is create that community to support this sisterhood where, we're sisters and where we want to soar and we want to succeed, whatever that might be. That might be career-wise, that might be family-wise, it might be investments, it might be business, it might be financially, whatever that may be for you, or maybe
health.
Internal health. We should be supporting each other. Now, Michelle, if I remember, you were also talking about another example about two friends doing the same challenge, but with different outcomes. Do you remember that story that you shared with me?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess within our industry, obviously you've got lots of 8-week challenges, 12-week challenges. And, often people will go into these things together as a community, as a little support network. But because we're all individual and we all live individual lives, we might get different results. And, I guess this is another example of where two friends might go into something. One of them might excel in the challenge. If the challenge is weight loss, they might lose a ton of weight and feel like they've succeeded, and the other friend might not lose as much or any at all. And it's a perfect scenario for what we've been discussing. You can either sit there and feel salty and shit and jealous of your friend that she achieved this and you didn't, or you can support your friend and say, thank you, well done, not thank you, well done on achieving what you did and, getting the successful outcome that you did. But I guess there is work to be done to say, well, why am I feeling jealous of that person? Did I do the same amount of work? Is there something more that I could have done? Or did I try my best and I'm a different person? And so I've had different results. So I think, it's, again, like we said, recognizing the feeling and then dialing back internally to say, well, where is this feeling coming from and what can I do?
Yeah. And it's actually finding the root cause as well, did I do enough? Where did I fall off? What was my strength? What was my weakness? And it's not saying that you're a horrible person and it's not working for you and you'll never be able to achieve that health goal. It's just finding, like, our bodies are very different. Are you actually stressed? Maybe you should be implementing more some more stress management tools. Maybe you need to be doing more weight resistance rather than more cardio. There's a lot of factors in there, and where you are. And what's your cycle like? Like, as females, our cycle can make such a big thing. And depending if you're perimenopause or not. Like, for myself, like, I know I've put on a bit of weight in the past two and a half years. And I know there's a big fluctuation of that. Getting COVID, my dad being unwell, my dad passing away, starting perimenopause, all of that. So there's a lot of little stressors there, and it's starting to shift. And now, I'm just taking one step at a time, and that's what we need to do, is just like, okay, where do I need to look, and what do I need to do? And so it's really digging into that root cause. Going on a tangent again, but it is you can't judge, and you can't compare yourself to your friend, because you are not that person. You'll never be that person. Your genetics, everything is different. So I guess it's like getting that in your head as well, that mindset. That's why no one diet fits everybody.
I thought you said no one died. I was like, oh, and then I heard it. Okay.
No one died.
No one died. Okay, cool.
That's good to know. No one died, Nadia. No one died. No one type of diet works for
everybody.
Everyone. Mm-hmm. So it's about finding what's going to work for you.
100%.
I think that's enough of a tangent we've done here. I feel like I'm always going on a tangent.
We love the tangents. But no, I think we've covered that quite nicely.
Same.
Yeah. Catch yourself, catch that jealousy, screw it up and chuck it away, and then fly and soar. Relieve yourself.
And there's nothing wrong with actually just sitting with it as well. Not fueling it, but just observe it and just question yourself with a playful curiosity of, where's that coming from? Why am I thinking that way? What fueled it? And just so then that's how you are able to then work on switching that state of mind, and what we call reframing really. And it's reframing on how you're looking at that. If that makes any sense. I feel like I'm like, does that make any sense, Michelle?
I got it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I think Michelle gets me, so she's like, if you don't get it, just send Michelle, just ask Michelle a question. She'll be able to answer it for you. This is what Nadia was trying to say.
No, you got it. Reframing. That's it.
Yeah, it's just reframing it. And so we've got to dig. So you got to be willing to do the work.
Yeah. And that's
Anywho, that is us for this week. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for listening,
watching,
true,
laughing along with us,
or at us.
Going, yes, you're saying that. I get that. And Michelle, have a lovely trip, man. Giving you a virtual hug.
Thank you. Yep,
safe travels.
I'll be on my Instagram.
Yay!
Taking a picture of every single thing I eat, no doubt.
Miss Foodie over there. Yes. One thing. Never mind. I'm gonna leave it for you and I to talk about foodie stuff. But anyways, we'll leave it to that, guys. Have a fabulous weekend, month, whatever it is when you're listening to this. Thank you for joining us. And please don't forget to follow, comment on either Instagram, on YouTube, and on Spotify. The more that we hear your guys' comments and what you liked and what you'd love to hear more about us to talk about, cover, or just have an open discussion. Any questions, just fire away. And we're happy to answer those in a podcast as well. Okay, sending lots of love, guys. Ciao.
Adios.